Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place." Would you let a king reign over you? Well, the answer depends on the character of the king, am I right? It makes a big difference if the king is a dictator or a servant. For example, when we compare Vortigern from the King Arthur movie and Aragon from the Lord of the Rings, we can see this difference quite well.
At one point, Vortigern says, "I will show them power. I will show them strength and dignity. You will show them lies, weakness, and shame. They may have come for you, but they will leave, and they will leave with a lasting impression of me. They may even hate me. I'll let them hate just so long as they fear. When people fear you, really fear you, it is the most intoxicating sensation a man can possess. The force of something almost indescribable moves through your blood and takes you over completely."
In contrast to this, let's hear what Aragon has to say during his coronation. This day doesn't belong to one man, but to all. Let us together rebuild this world that we may share in the days of peace.
Back in the day, a kingdom began and died with the king. It was a repeating cycle of kings that brought a new kingdom with them. With our mindset, we cannot understand a true kingdom because there is none present in our days. Back then, a king had absolute power. He created the laws, he made the decisions, and everyone ought to submit to and obey him. Again, would you like to live in such a kingdom? Depends on the king, right? Or actually, maybe not. Because when we look back in the past, we see only too many kings who abused their power to enslave their kingdom inhabitants, and very few kings who did well. So we may think that democracy is the most just government we can have. Unfortunately, even in a democracy, there is abuse of power present. But what if there actually existed a person who would be an absolute just and good king? I can tell you today that this king indeed does exist. His name is Jesus. Jesus said that his kingdom is not from this world. And indeed, if we take a look at the values of his kingdom, we can discover a kingdom worthy to die for. In Jesus' time, the people could witness how the blind received sight, the lame walked, those who had leprosy were cleansed, the deaf heard, the dead were raised, and the good news was proclaimed to the poor. Jesus preached that if a man wants to be first, he should be last and let others pass him. It is always better to be humble instead of proud. He commanded to love God and others as we love ourselves, and to always forgive. He told the people to become like children, for theirs is his kingdom. The ones who are meek, merciful, peacemakers, and have a pure heart are inhabitants of his kingdom. He preached to turn away from evil in order to receive citizenship for his kingdom. His main purpose is to transform us from a Vortigern into an Aragon. We are to be ambassadors of his kingdom here on earth. With Jesus, the kingdom of heaven came and began on earth. For the everlasting, holy, all-powerful King came to dwell on earth for a little while. And through his death and resurrection, his kingdom was established forever by redeeming what was lost. His kingdom did not only begin with him, Jesus is the kingdom that became flesh. So, with a good king, we will have the best kingdom. But with a bad king, we will have the worst. Jesus, as king, is always just. He is not corrupt. As a king, he gave his own life to save his people. He brings healing, freedom, and prosperity to them and takes care of them because he loves his people unconditionally. And just before his crucifixion, this King of Kings kneels down before his disciples and washes their dirty, sweaty feet. This is what Jesus as a king is like. This is what his kingdom looks like, a place that needs to expand on earth and is truly wonderful to live in. But what does it mean to make Jesus our king? It is to seek his will, to understand how his kingdom is like. Does Jesus want us to watch Netflix all day? Is Jesus allowed to speak into my relationships, my habits, into my decision-making, into my plans for the future? Is he allowed to transform me? Let's mediate over this and find out. Because really, no human being can be a just and perfectly good king over our lives, not even we ourselves, since we often don't know what's actually best for us. And then, let's lay down our crowns, our days, our dreams, and everything we have before the feet of Jesus, and let him be the good king over our life. My kingdom is not of this world.